up your engines! It's time for the Scotty Kilmer channel. Today I'm going to talk about why certain car parts should never be made out of plastic, but many manufacturers are doing just that. Now I understand that plastic is much easier and cheaper to make. This is a plastic thermostat that I had to change out on this Ford because it broke already. Now even though this Ford is only 6 years old, the thermostat inside here cracked and broke because it's made out of plastic. While the thermostat of this 24-year-old Toyota Celica is still strong, it's never been changed. The housing is made out of metal. They can last forever. So why did they make this thermostat housing out of plastic? Hey, it's just cheaper. Plastic is made by injection molding. The plastic can be molded in. They can make a whole bunch of these things at once. When they break the mold apart, they just have to take little tangs off. It's ready for use. While in a metal thermostat, they have to make good molds. It has to be poured. And then a lot of times when it comes out, it's got to be polished so it fits right. Costs a lot more money, even though they last a lot longer. Now, plastic bumpers, they're okay. They're just out in the air. They can bend and flex. You can hit people. They can bounce back up. That's okay, but you don't want plastic where there's a corrosive atmosphere. As I'm quoting from a scientist here, research shows that the exposure of plastics to liquid chemicals tends to accelerate their breaking. So when you have a thermostat that's hidden inside the engine here, it's all hot, it's got all kinds of chemicals in it from the antifreeze, of course it's going to break down relatively fast. And in the case of this Ford, to add insult to injury, there's a little rubber hose that comes off the thermostat housing, but what does it go to? Yet another plastic hose, and this plastic hose carries coolant. The plastic just degraded and it had to be replaced. Now this hose used to be made out of metal. Of course it's cheaper to make it out of plastic, but then the heat and the chemicals in the antifreeze eventually break down and it'll start leaking and you got to replace something that could have lasted almost forever. Now plastic has some good uses. In the old Saturns, they had plastic doors and plastic fender panels. They don't rust, so that's an okay use of plastic. But what about door handles? I spend hours every year replacing people's door handles. They're made out of cheap plastic and they break when you pull on them. When I was a kid, door handles were made out of chrome-plated metal. They basically lasted forever. Now this is a Lexus, and though it looks like it, it's chrome-plated plastic. And these things break too, and they're a pain to replace. In this case, be gentle and kind with your door handles. Don't rip them up. My wife has never broken any of these plastic door handles because she's cautious. But me, a lot of times, I'm in a hurry, I grab it, they break right off, and then you gotta replace the stupid thing. When you're talking about putting plastic under the hood of your car on the engine where it gets really hot, heat soaks over time, and there's caustic chemicals, that's just plain stupid. For another example on this Ford, this is the power steering reservoir. Inside here, there's a little plastic piece that goes to the top of the pump, and they often break because it's plastic. What does plastic not like? Chemicals, like power steering fluid, temperature, it gets very hot with the power steering pump, and pressure. These things can put up 1,600 pounds per square inch pressure. It's stupid to use any plastic parts on a power steering system. That reminds me of a friend of mine who does heating and air conditioning work on houses. He said, Scotty, you think cars are bad? We have heaters for houses that have plastic parts inside the furnace. And guess what? After a few years, the plastic melts. We got to take it all apart and then replace it. Sometimes, heck, it's just comical. Look at this. There's plastic valves inside here for the anti-pollution system. And what did they do? They put a little heat shield to attempt to keep the heat from bothering the plastic. Like, it's still under the hood of the car. It's going to get all kinds of heat in there, and the plastic's going to degrade over time. I swear, sometimes it seems that they're making these things just so they'll last a little bit longer than the warranty period, and then they don't care anymore. Now, if there's no pressure or stress, like in an air filter box, air's just going through it, it's perfectly fine to use plastic. But plastic and pressure and temperature again, not a good idea to use plastic. This radiator had to replace it because the top tank started to crack, got brittle, and was leaking coolant. And now people are going to say, Scotty, oh, the plastic radiators, they use them because they weigh less. Well, they actually don't, because the plastic plastic has to be so thick that it won't crack right away. It actually weighs a little bit more than a thin metal that can take a lot more pressure and never wear out. And don't even get me start talking about plastic headlights. When I was a kid, they were glass. The glass stayed shiny forever, just needed cleaning. This plastic stuff, it gets all hazy, looks like crap, you can polish it, but then it'll get hazy again in a few months. But at least with exterior plastic, you can use this plastic polish to polish it and protect it to make it last longer. But all the mechanical parts under the hood, it doesn't do any good for that because they degrade from the inside out from heat and chemicals. Believe it or not, a man by the name of Matty Holtzberg made a mainly plastic copy of a Ford Pinto engine. Let's just say it's probably a good thing it was never put into actual mass production. Some people have taken this plastic and manufacturing a little bit too far. And remember, if you got any car questions, just visit the Scotty Kilmer channel. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.